Alright everybody, welcome back to Blades in the Dark. We are back for hour number 2. My name is Matt. I am joined by Ian, Mike, Emily, and Anthony. And we are getting some coffee and croissants.
Good.
And murder.
Yeah.
Double shot of murder, please.
I'll take 2
It's
murder.
like my espresso with a double shot of murder.
Gross. That was...
Alright. So I would like to speak to your manager, is what we left off with.
Yes.
So behind the bar, there's a guy looks like he's probably in his 30s. And he's rubbing a glass out. And he kind of hasn't looked up to see you at the moment, and he's paying attention to the glass. And he's like, that's me. And he hasn't seen that you're, you know...
This is a bar.
No.
Is it a coffee bar?
There's a bar, a coffee bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the counter?
Okay. I guess Silas looks at him, and he says, I mean, does he look like a foghound? I mean, is there any discernible tattoos, markings? Do I have to roll something for this, or is this just...
I don't think that it's established that there's any special markings of the foghounds established yet.
I mean, if there is, what would I need to... I mean, do I see any tattoos on this man?
No.
Okay. So then that marks that off. He kind of takes a step back, and he looks at Wacasis, and he's like, this gentleman will talk to you.
Can we back up for a moment, and can I get a description of this coffee shop / cafe?
Sure.
Good idea.
So I'd say that it probably has, 5 or 6 tables in it, and then there's a single counter at the back right corner with just a register and some glasses behind it probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a wood floors, wood walls, very plain, nothing super fancy. Just a single story, doesn't have an upstairs. It probably has a cellar of some kind. The stairs are probably behind the counter. You can see a door there. There's only half a dozen. I'd say there's 3 customers in there. So it's pretty empty at the moment. And I'd say that probably, at least 1 or 2 of them, when they look up and see Silas, they quietly get their stuff and leave.
Does anyone stop them at that point, or do we just let them through? I think we just let them through.
Probably. We're not looking to kill everybody.
Right.
I don't think so.
I didn't know if there was a well, again, because there's no physical identifier for a foghound, I didn't know if this was a get the one that's gonna go rat on us type situation.
Yeah. You can see one guy, he's in the back left corner with his feet up on the table, and he's not leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say this gentleman would like to speak to you, he looks up, and then he sees you.
Wait, who's you? Who?
Silas.
Okay.
Talking to Silas.
Mm-hmm.
When he sees you, you said you're fully kitted out. What would he see as a fully kitted out Silas?
So, Silas normally goes around either in his jacket and hat, kind of like a bowler hat, or rolled up sleeves with a vest and maybe a tie, but not usually a tie because he's not that classy. But today he's still wearing said bowler hat, but instead of his normal duds, he's basically wearing this. It's not full plate armor, but there are definitely metal plates on it that signify leather with metal over it, kind of like this. Not so much as a knight suit, because I think we've gotten past that whole medieval knight. It's more Victorian kind of stylized armor.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like kind of form-fitting, but it definitely is. I'm heavily armored.
You said form-fitting? Does Silas have a good ass?
He does indeed.
These are the important
have it.
questions.
You have to picture that.
I know. Imagine Tom Hardy and Bronson
I'm
in the
already
numerous shots of that.
there. Yeah.
All right, which
Yikes.
part am I? Because we're obviously not in the like scene where he is in with the art guy, you know, and he's all painted black.
Right.
We're not there.
How about the scene where he's in the cage and he's being sprayed down and he attacks the men naked?
All right.
Or the one where he strips
If you
and
guys
he holds that guard hostage.
if you guys haven't seen Bronson, consider it at least.
It's a trip.
It's an
It's-
interesting film.
I watched it for the first time just like last week or something. Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy's got some range, I gotta tell you.
What are you saying?
Be nice.
Yeah, you're right. He does. Yeah. Yeah, he's got some
Exactly
range
what I'm
swinging
saying.
around. Yeah.
All right,
I
so
should point out that like he's not in leather pants that are like, look at my butt, boys. Although
what kind of
there is
weapons
some-
do you have on you?
So, I think this is something we haven't seen Silas use before. It's his fine heavy weapon that which the cutters get, and this thing is like, let's just say it's a little intimidating, because what it is there's like a sheath where he has stuck like this kind of like, it looks like, you ever seen like a billhook machete?
Yeah.
It kind of, yeah. So it looks like the whole curved kind of blade. So it's like one of those, but it's like really, it's slightly bigger than a billhook machete. So you'd struggle to wield it with one hand, although Silas can do it. And then attached to the handle is like maybe 10 foot of like chain that he's holding kind of in his left hand, and he's got it sheathed. So basically what this is going to do is he could swing the chain with the blade on the end. But right now he's just holding this thing.
So he sees that, and then, you know, his first reaction, like, you're the first thing that he sees because you're large. He drops the glass that he was, you know, cleaning. He's a little startled, and he kind of like looks around the bar, and I mean, at first he doesn't see anyone, you know, directly out in front of him. If he were to look like all the way to his right and kind of back, then he'd see that one guy that's still there, and he's still there. He's like, his feet are up on the table and he's reading a book at the moment. Like he doesn't even care at the moment. It seems like.
So I can see this man reading the book?
Oh yeah.
I will walk slowly over to said man, very slowly, so that like it's not much noise, and also Wacasis can do the talking that I've opened up for him while I'm walking over.
Yeah, never mind.
What were you gonna say, Matt?
I was gonna ask if we could do a flashback.
We can do that.
How much stress will it cost me to take a flashback to have the night prior forged up or not forged, because I drafted up a bill of sale.
For this
Yes.
bar?
For this cafe.
One.
Can I go ahead and sneak into Matt's flashback here with one of my own instead?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, could I have been there when the owner acquired some large portion of debt, personal debt?
Recently?
Yeah,
Oh, you think like in a card game or
I
something?
think he's a gambling man.
Okay, and you played cards with him.
I don't think I am the one that he owes money to, but I think I might know who he owes money to.
Okay. Who does he owe money to?
He owes money to Bazo Baz.
Okay, now you gotta explain to me why you were playing cards with Bazo Baz.
I wasn't. I was playing cards where Bazo Baz was playing cards.
Okay.
He was playing cards with his wife.
in the vicinity
Yeah.
of Oslo.
So to speak. Unrelated incident.
Yes. Dude, this was
Similar
one
to-
This was one really fateful night for Wakasis.
Oh boy.
That'll be
Very much so.
That'll be a one stress flashback.
Okay. Okay.
That is something you can handle.
So me writing
And
up
you
a bill of sale is one stress, and him knowing the gambling debts of a future client, if you will, while getting or knowing that he was indebted to a current client from a former client is also one. GM horse shit.
What? Did you want no
Yours
stress
is way more
on your
stressful. Yours is
flashback?
technical. Mine is
And me saying 2 stress or even 3 stress would literally make no difference because it wouldn't carry over.
Well, I'm aware of that.
It doesn't bleed over, so you're gonna take trauma either way. Love
You
ya.
must control your destiny.
this was also how we found out about the place, so it's really not much of a flashback.
No.
It helps you
Sure.
at all with that.
Yeah, but do you have
Outrage.
anything you want to play out there, or do you think you were just there? You know.
I think I just want the. Well, who are we talking to? What is his position in the business? Just the first guy at the counter?
Yeah, he's at the moment.
Is he like the manager, or is he just like a guy, just a peon?
If we're, using this flashback, then you would be able to know that he's the proprietor of the business.
Oh, this is the owner. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay, I just want him to know that I know. That's all I want.
Okay. So let's play out that conversation at the bar, unless you wanted to play something out in the flashback specifically.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think the bar's the place to do it.
Let's play out your conversation with him. So he drops his glass, and Silas walks off into the other direction, and then you're standing there face to face with Croissant Man.
Can I have a better name than Baker Man?
Sure. Let me pull up the names here. I have it on my GM reference card here, and I'll pick one. His name is going to be Roth.
Roach?
Roth.
Papa.
Papa Roach.
R-O-E-T-H-E. Ah!
Wait, how is that spelled?
R-O-E-T-H-E.
Okay. Done.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. So you know that, and as soon as he stops, desperately looking around for someone who is here, he puts his eyes on you, and kind of he looks like he makes to reach under the counter as he's saying, "What do you want?" And if you want to, I would probably say make a resistance roll on his attempt to bluff you, because there's nothing behind the bar,
Right.
but Wakasis doesn't necessarily know that, so you can resist that attempt to bluff.
I think at this
You want?
point, during this whole kerfuffle, is there anything like a day-old pastries section that's out front where you just grab it and bring it up to the counter and pay for it there?
I would say it's probably just on the counter.
Okay,
Like,
well,
in
Oscar
front of the counter.
goes and he's just gonna grab one and go sit down at a table
Okay.
and then,
Yeah.
unwrap it.
He pays you the slightest amount of mind, and then puts his eyes back on Wakasis. Still has his hand underneath the counter.
What
No.
what do I roll to resist that?
Well, you're resisting an attempt to bluff you. So what do you think you would be rolling to be able to discern that? Survey, maybe?
I mean, I don't think Wakasis would. Hold on, just a second. I want to read the difference between consort one more time.
I think consort's more talking to your friends. Is that? I got it in front of me.
Yeah, consorts
Yeah.
like
Well-
discussing and talking.
Well, what my thought process is that Wacasis wouldn't be concerned about whether or not he has a weapon. He'd be concerned about whether or not he thinks he would use it against him. So I think I'm going to take a Rook's Gambit actually on it and roll Sway.
Okay.
Because he doesn't care about the weapon being there. He cares about whether or not he'll have a conversation with him at all.
Well, wait, is this a resistance roll, Mike?
Yes.
Can I not
So-
take Rook's Gambit on that?
Well, no, it doesn't matter because you'd be using the, the resistance roll is based off of how many, like, dots you have in that.
Right. That's right.
So you actually, I think, based off of your character, you have like 3 resolve rating, right?
So
You have command, consort, and sway.
this would this kind of be more of an insight resistance roll though?
I mean,
Why?
Because you're trying to be insightful into like determine whether or not he's bluffing you. I think resolve could make sense,
well, I'm thinking about this more along the lines of, is he looking, if it was insight, it'd be like, am I looking to bluff to make sure, like, oh, he doesn't have a gun behind there.
Like,
Because
does he have it or not?
And resolve
Seems
is more
it's
like,
yeah.
can I tell based off of his facial features, does
I-
he have it?
I was literally thinking like whether like I somewhat know him, like is he my enemy? Does he have a reason to just pull a gun on me? We haven't
Right.
started shooting.
I'll allow resolve for that then. So yeah, it's a three dice resistance roll.
You mean to say that it resolves?
It fizzles.
So where in Roll20 do I need to roll that from?
So
Just
you
3d6?
Yeah, you can just roll 3d6.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a button for rolling
That's-
those attributes.
Okay.
I don't know how I would do that even. 6. Yeah, like you can totally tell he totally doesn't have anything there.
Okay.
And even if he did, he probably wouldn't use it. He's scared shitless right now.
I like to think that I would just like kind of like hold my hands out like and like show him there's nothing in my sleeves. Like just like try to calm him down so I can have a conversation with him.
Yeah, he sees the ace up there though,
The trick is not having to hide anything in your sleeves. It's about being a demon. Okay, so
Okay,
insight?
and we can keep it the way it is for now, but John says the effect page describes which attribute to resist with, and it should be insight for this, but
Why?
So let's see, where is this? Because we're looking at
Deception of understanding, physical strain, injury, mental strain, or willpower. Boom.
that's resolve. Yeah, because I'm looking at the effect page right now.
I'm just curious. We can move on if it's too.
Well, we're gonna keep it with the result for that roll for now.
No, yeah, John's the maker, so he knows in this situation.
I was asking
Yeah.
why, not questioning whether or not it was true.
Right. I think that the argument that you made for using resolve in this situation makes sense.
Okay.
And that's why I'm okay with keeping it that way.
Okay.
But typically, like for this kind of situation, I would usually lean more towards insight because that's more, perception kind of thing, and trying to perceive and be insightful as to whether or not he has something or he's willing to use it.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
like I said, I'm cool with your argument, so I
Sure.
think it makes sense.
So, I just like, Roth, hello.
It's like, do I know you?
I think you should. My name's Wacasis. We've played cards together.
Last night?
Not last night. little while ago. I think you know my friend Bozo Boz.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while. How's he doing?
He's okay. He's okay. You know, I've been doing a little work for him here and there. Me and my friends here, just working for him a little bit. You know, he said the funniest thing to me the other day. He told me about a debt. He told me someone owed him some money.
Oh, I feel sorry for anyone who owes money to that guy.
Yeah, me too.
He collects on his debts pretty hard.
He does. He does. Say, you wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?
Nope.
No? No, I swear I remember seeing you lose a harsh game of chance to our friend Bozo Boz a couple weeks back. Was it 3 cards dead? What's your game? I don't remember. What's your game?
I think that's a good point to cut to Silas. You know, so
If we're gonna cut, we should cut to Lyric real quick and see what she's doing, because I don't know what she's doing in this whole
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
I know. I imagine that when we first go in, like she actually has like a bandana or something across her face, because she doesn't know if she's gonna actually know anybody from the Foghounds, because while working at the docks, you meet a lot of smugglers down there. She doesn't know if she's helped any of them out or if they're gonna recognize her. So she figures she's going to defer to what the group wants to do. She doesn't want to get any potential, personal liaisons mixed up. So she looks kind of intimidating right now. She's just standing there. She's got 2 pistols. And she's got and a bandana. She looks like a freaking cowboy.
are you like standing at the door, or are you standing?
I imagine I'm standing at the door.
Okay.
I'm kind of a couple paces behind Wakasis, keeping my eye on Silas, but I got my hands on my pistols.
Is
'Cause
there
I'm a cowboy.
Then you would have been the one to let the patrons through as they left, right?
Yeah.
Are there any like local papers or news documents that would be on the tables?
There's probably one that was left in quite a hurry.
Okay. Yeah. Oscar's
You can play
also
some
reading that.
tic-tac-toe.
Oscar's reading that and enjoying his croissant this whole time.
It's a little
I'm proud of
stale,
you.
you know.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. He expected it. It's still
Might cause you a
good,
bit of stress.
though. No.
Cause you a
The trauma from the.
Stale croissant.
Chrisama.
Right.
He just stands
Anyway.
up. I gotta go.
I'm not feeling so well, guys. Hey,
Silas.
I don't
Is
think
there
constant
anything-
diarrhea is the trauma.
Hey,
so-
Oh,
again.
it is.
is there anything that you want to do, Lyric, or is there anything you want to be prepared for? You know.
I would like to be prepared to make a quick maneuver involving my pistols if needed.
Wow.
Because I imagine, the other guy. So where's the guy that Silas is approaching?
He's in the far back left corner.
Back left, yeah. So I imagine that she's kind of standing at an angle, so she could potentially whip out both of her guns and just shoot the guy behind the counter and the guy in the corner at the same time. So she's just very quiet, very ready for anything. That's kind of her stance right now.
Okay. And I'd say that in total, this is probably, nothing more than, the Piccolo coffee shop,
Cafe Piccolo
the
Paradiso.
old location.
Mhm.
We're probably a little bit larger than that as far as,
Mm-hmm.
size.
Sure. It's not
Right.
very
So
big.
It's not a huge place, but, it's not super tiny like the new one is. All right. We good to see how Silas fares with gentlemen in the back? Yeah. All right. So yeah, you approach him, and as you approach, he probably just, peeks up over the top of his book, and sees you approaching, and then just goes back.
I mean, okay.
Unless you wanted to intentionally try to approach him without him being able to notice you, then that would require a roll.
I mean, I'd like to try and not make him see me, just because I can.
Yeah.
Just basing it off of my newly upgraded prowl.
Yeah. You would like to make that their prowl roll.
I might as well. I'm just trying to be a little sneaky. So.
4.
I'm kind of sneaky.
Yeah, you're kind of sneaky, so you're able to do it, but there's going to be a consequence. Okay. So you're going to be able to sneak up on this guy without him noticing, but you are going to miss a second person come out of the back, door. So you're not going to know that he's there at the moment. Because you're focused on trying to make sure this guy doesn't know you are there. So
That's
you're
fine.
tunnel vision a little bit.
I'm not worried about that because I think Silas is well aware that Lyric has got this. Like, he would have known that, like, oh, someone's got the door. It's probably Lyric based off of previous experience, so.
Yep. And Lyric, you obviously see this guy come out of that back door.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar, how are you positioned? Like, back to the counter, back to the door?
You're at a table, right?
Yeah, so the way I imagine it is sort of like, my chair is sitting such that most of the entire cafe is in my view. Like the left side. On the left side is the door. I'm like sitting back in the dining area. On the left side is I can see the door and all, like, if there's any windows there, I can see out the windows. And then there's also the counter on the right side. And so I'm just kind of sitting in the middle of the coffee shop, near one side, so I can see most of it.
Okay. And depending on how close you're paying attention, you could feasibly see this guy come out the back too.
Okay. Where does he go when he comes out the back door?
At first, he walks out the door and stands there and looks like he's, trying to take in exactly what's going on here. He's dressed pretty similarly to the guy who's being approached by a stylist right now too.
Okay.
Right, Silas. Unless you wanted to do something else, Oscar.
Oscar looks at him and says, what's the name of the cafe?
What is the name of the cafe? Have we
Oh yeah, we were gonna establish that.
Well, Oscar just says, the cafe is closed. You can go home today, there's no work. Unless you made these croissants yesterday, in which case I have to have a talk with you. And he, like, perks up in his seat and kind of, like, brushes some croissant from his mustache.
Alright. So the guy that, Silas, you're right at his table by this point. He and the guy that just came in, they make eye contact. And I'm going to give you a chance to do things, before I tell you what they do next. But, you have enough time to notice the eye contact that they're making.
I see the eye contact. I get that he's clearly making eye contact with someone that I can't see. That is a third person here. And I think that this is the point where Silas would have just turned to look at the person. But I think rather than doing that this time, he's jumping to step 2, which is the guy can't see him. Yeah, I mean, close to murder. He's gonna, like, grab him by, like, his collar and, like, yank him to his feet and then, like, slam him into the, like, ground.
Alright, I want to resolve this with dice rolls. And we're gonna do some opposed dice rolls here to see who's faster. What is speed based off of, would you say?
Prowess.
Prowess?
Like a resistance, kind of like resistance rolls or something, maybe? Or
Yeah, like how...
Or opposing skirmish checks.
Opposing skirmish checks, possibly. Possibly opposing skirmish checks. I don't know if there's a quick way to just, decide who's faster. Opposing skirmish checks, I think, is the closest way to do this.
Okay. What's their skirmish at? I mean, are they like gonna?
Their skirmish is at 2 as well.
Okay.
And I think that this guy, he'd push himself for this. Can NPCs do that? I don't know. Can
Well, they
I
don't take
don't
stress. They
think
take
so,
stress
because they
as
can't
harm, and if they're minions,
Yeah.
they die if they take stress as harm. So
right?
yeah, you could kill
He
him.
wants to just die.
For typical
I
dude,
was so
yeah.
stressed I died.
But
I hate to die.
these aren't just regular thugs. Oh, John was gonna. Oh, never mind.
We got
Yeah. 'Cause
I personally think that because of this is just me saying like with what John's saying is where they don't have it. I just think like the prowl, besides hiding me, I mean, I think that would give me an edge to this guy I'm doing this to because he has no idea that I'm there.
Yeah, he doesn't know you're there at the moment. So he makes eye contact with that guy. So you have the edge for sure. But I still want to do rolls. So I'm gonna roll 2d6, and then you can roll your skirmish, and you get a bonus die, or you're gonna get improved position. You know, you're gonna get controlled position, and he's gonna be rolling it to risky
Okay.
instead of controlled. But you can also push yourself and do devil's bargains.
I like to think that no matter what this man is about to do, I'm probably just going to slam him to the floor anyways, so I'm just going to roll the skirmish.
So 2d6 at controlled, and he's going to roll 2d6 at risky.
All right.
2d6.
Yikes.
So he didn't.
I think
Yep,
I
you-
did it.
You won.
So you're definitely faster. So yeah, what happens is that he tries to like go to stand up and throw the table, but like as soon as he like flinches, you're just right on him and you grab him by the collar and you just throw him right to the ground.
And this is straight up, I'm not necessarily trying to kill him intentionally, but I'm going to knock him out by beating him into the ground. That kills him, I mean,
Then that's on him.
yeah.
So that was a roll to resolve like who's faster. You haven't successfully killed him yet. That's going to take,
I would like to point out that I understand, but I'm also going to argue the point with the creator, which is saying that because of a skirmish action roll is both the NPC and the characters.
okay.
Because it would have essentially been like if I had failed it, he would have the upper hand, whereas if I succeed it, I have the upper hand.
Okay.
So it's like I go to bash him to the floor, and he's naturally going to resist it. And if I had failed, then he would have succeeded. It's kind of like how it works.
Right. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I suppose that I'm just I'm gonna say that that's definitely the case. What I was trying to do, and one thing that I've been trying to wrap my mind around is how to make some NPCs feel more powerful than other NPCs.
I think
If everyone can just be taken out by a single action roll, then no one's ever going to feel more powerful than anyone else. You know what I mean?
So the way it's
this
described
is-
in the rule book is, if it's a powerful foe, you tell us what they do to you or do to us before we have a chance to do something. Or Sith Master has a good one: reduced effect, or stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah, I think that for the time being, though, yeah, your action roll is more than sufficient to just wreck this guy and get him on the ground. So you're able to get him on the ground, but he is able to he pulls out like a club from his coat while he's on the ground, and the other guy that came out, he's gonna like pretty much run and leave you to that guy, and he's gonna go for Lyric, since she seems like the next biggest threat at the moment, since she has guns.
wait, so I don't knock this guy out like I was trying to do?
Was that your intent? Is to just knock him out cold?
Yes.
Okay.
I got a 6. I assume that means I do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can knock him out. I think that's fair. You know, and again, it's the reduced effect, you know, kind of thing. Like, how does that work? But
I mean, I am on tier with them.
and you're a small gang too, so.
Well, that's why I'm on tier with them, because I'm a small gang, because I'm a tier 1 essentially. So I think that it's kind of like it balances out. I would have had better if I'd been using my weapons, but I decided not to this time. So I think that I barely do it.
Yeah, you still count as a small gang as far as scale, so you're most of the time going to have the upper hand. Just to kind of give you an idea as to where I am as far as mindset wise, these guys are, you know, intended to be essentially the foghound guards of this establishment, you know, and so they're intended to be definitely not like the baddest asses of badasses, but you know they're
The medium ass.
they're more than just common thugs, if you know what I mean. So.
And what does Wakasis is talking to somebody too? What does Wakasis's friend do when this fight breaks out?
I was gonna say they were just getting to the good stuff.
And Wakasis, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, you know, we cut off the conversation before it would have ended, you know, with Wakasis. So we have, you know, at least a few more lines of dialogue, or at least you know, a little bit longer to try to resolve some of that with Wakasis. So before we really get into the rest of this, we can try to resolve that with Wakasis.
Okay. I asked him what his game of choice was.
That's right.
I don't know if he responds to that question, but that's what I said.
Like, you're intending to ask him, like, what kind of, like, card games does he like?
No, I mean, I was trying to guess which game he lost all his money in.
Blackjack, he says.
Okay. Well, how much did you end up owing Bozo, would you say?
She says, probably all that I'd make here for the next 2-3 months, you know?
How much is that?
That's, you know, if 6 coin is taken as a monthly take for a small business,
So you're looking at
you know,
about 18 to 20 coin?
yeah, he's in the hole quite a lot with
Yeah.
Bazo. You know, a few months' wages for sure.
He
Now-
went to the high roller, but he was not a high roller.
Let me tell you, I like this place. The croissants, do you make the croissants?
Yes.
You make them yourself?
Mhm.
Okay, so just out of character, how much do I can I really know him? Is he actually in with this other gang, or is he just sort of like their croissant man?
You would be able to kind of get the impression that he isn't like entirely on board with keeping them on the premises, but you know,
Gotcha. He has no
they're-
real
they're-
choice, right?
they're big scary guys.
And they
Okay.
pay his paycheck, so.
Yeah, and you know, probably you would notice that at a few places during this conversation, he continues to glance over to the guy that Silas is approaching and eventually getting to, you know.
Well, the reason I'm here, I think we have some mutual interests, and I think we might be able to work something out, my friend.
He's like, mutual, and I think that probably at about that point, that's when shit goes
We just hear
wrong.
this loud like boom.
Yeah. And he kind of like ducks down behind the counter, and the guy that wasn't knocked out, you know, or at least I'd say he's probably dazed, not knocked out cold.
Yeah, I think John has said some things that
Yeah.
make that kind of change, and I'm willing to just roll with whatever that is. But
Like, totally. If this was just some regular thug, then you probably would have been able to just knock him out cold and, forget about him. But he's got a little bit more, a little more
His
stamina.
skull's a little bit more thick.
Yeah. But he's at least dazed for now, so he's not going to be able to act for a little bit. The other guy, however, he, as soon as, they make eye contact and, like, he tries to get up and you knock him to the ground, he makes a sprint and goes to, like, make a flying leap over the counter at Lyric,
Oh, the second
boy.
guy, not the
Yeah.
guy that I'm talking to.
Yeah, the second guy who came out
Okay.
from the back. The guy you were talking to, he's, like, cowering behind the counter. Probably used as a springboard by the other guy to jump over the counter at Lyric.
So he is leaping towards me, eh?
Yes. And he's
Wow.
he's got a club out. He was able to whip that out and start running all in like one fluid motion.
Oh, jeez.
Nice.
Well, let's see here.
Question.
Because I know that.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but this is for your benefit. Question regarding this, because I've seen this guy. I would have seen him pull a gun. Is there
A
any
club.
way?
Club.
Is there any way that I can either pull a gun that I have or assist Lyric in some other way, like by letting her know that it's happening? Like that. Hey, there's a man with a club. Or at
Yeah,
least,
I'd say
like,
that-
would she have been ready for this because I had said something to that guy?
Yeah, you and Lyric definitely have. You both have about an equal opportunity to try to, pull a gun and shoot this guy.
Sure.
Mhm.
It just would probably depend on who rolls better on their action roll to see who actually gets him.
Totally.
Okay, so we could just
Like we both pull our guns at the same time.
at the same time. It's all cinematic,
Okay.
just-
Yeah.
and so you have like croissant like all over your face,
No,
just tumbling out of your
No,
nose,
it's just a
but-
little bit in my. It's just a little bit in there, but like I do this like with my nose and like it's like a slow motion crumb falling while you see Oscar's old wrinkly hand reaching to his side, and he's got like a sawed-off shotgun.
Yeah, everything probably
what a
goes slow
beautiful
motion
moment
for a
this
second.
is.
Yeah.
This guy, it goes slow motion at the moment where his like foot is probably like on the back of the bartender or whatever, and he's got his club out and he's make a flying leap and try to club Lyric in the face.
Oh
and your
gosh,
Crumb's
help!
falling and you're going for your gun, and I assume Lyric, you're going for your gun as well.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
her gun's already in her hand. She's probably just aiming it.
Yeah.
Was your guns already in your hand?
Yeah, she had them
But
ready.
no, I was holding them like at my side, so like I would be ready to shoot. I wasn't like aiming it.
Yeah.
So.
Right, and that's the difference.
Yeah,
I
you-
didn't have mine out or like in my hand or anything. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lyric would still probably be able to go first. I just wanted to make sure that she was like aware
Yeah.
of this man.
Mhm.
Lyric, you're gonna make this roll at risky, and man,
I just want to like clarify what John's saying because I read the little snippet here, and what he's basically saying is that you choose the difficulty at which the position and harm is being dished out. So if this guy was straight cream of the crop, Lyric would be in a desperate position with potentially 4 harm, and with potentially having to resist that. So this is just your kind of, I mean, with what type of thug you want to make. He could deal anywhere from like 1 harm, which we could heal pretty easily, to like 4 harm, which is an
Right.
instant kill.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. And
So,
I
like-
think I think that definitely this would normally be a desperate position for this guy. Because Lyric was kind of prepared, I think that I'm willing to bump that
Yeah.
to risky instead because she was ready for it. But Oscar, on the other hand, you're going to still be at desperate for this.
Mhm.
One, because he's kind of a badass, and also Wakasis is kind of like in your way.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's in my way as much as that he is like in the line of fire. If I shot the shotgun, like
For sure.
I'm taking a risk that I might accidentally hit him a little bit too, and I'm really hoping.
No!
I'm hoping not to,
You're-
but
You're at desperate.
Uh,
Lyric, you're at risky. Let's make some rolls and see
Oh boy.
how this goes.
yeah. Well, I think
Okay.
Lyric should definitely roll first because she would have had her guns ready before I would.
Okay.
I'm old and clumsy.
So what am I gonna roll at this point?
Hunt, I think, is what you roll for shooting guns.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. All right. And do I need to modify that at all, or just keep it as it is?
Depends on if you want devil's bargains or pushing yourself. I know Matt wants to push himself.
That should feel good.
The old man
Let's
can't
see.
take it.
Let's see. Pushing myself, is that 1 or 2 stress?
2, yeah. Push yourself as 2 for an extra dice.
I think that is 2. I could push myself. I could do that.
Do it.
So then I would just add 1 when I hit hunt.
Yes.
Okay. Here we go.
Roll a crit. Roll a crit.
That was close.
Ayo.
So it was a 6. All right, Oscar.
Oh,
they're
do
pretty
I
much
even
happening at the
do I
same
even
time.
have to? Well, no, because it's definitely slower for me. Like I wouldn't have even shot before she would get a shot off
Yeah.
on a 6. That's what I've been trying to
Would-
communicate. Is like I my gun's still at my side, in my coat.
Yeah.
Like I would have to pull it out. I'm not. This is not a like whoop-ow! Like this is a
Yeah.
crap. You know, like so if her
So it's
guns
like,
were ready,
how'd I-
like she would have just been like got him, and I'd be like, "Ah, I'm there. I'm ready.
Man.
Like you
Butter
probably
fingers.
have enough
Just butter
time
croissant.
to get your gun part way up, and
Mhm.
then she shoots.
Yeah, and then I like so when she shoots, I just kind of like
Yours.
start looking at the gun, like you know, acting like I was just looking at it.
It's like, nah, I got gun too. I got game.
All right.
Maybe I find out
Uh,
that it's not actually even loaded, and I'm like, oh, fucking thing. I like load some
So-
rounds.
How do you envision this playing out with my
So that's what
my
I'm trying
fabulous
to
success?
determine. You were at risky, and you got it with
Mhm.
6. You do it with increased effect, so you're pretty much just gonna do it.
No, that's a crit. You do it with increased effect.
Oh yeah, you do it. So no reduced effect. You do it. Yeah. So he's straight up died. You
In
know,
mid-air.
in
I would like to
mid-air.
think that as he is lunging, I just like me and my cowboyness, you know, still got my I still got my bandana on or whatever, my scarf on my face, and I'm just like, what?
Right.
I don't know why I'm a cowboy right now, but I really want to be.
That's okay.
Cowboy lyric.
I
Yes.
came to this cafe
Hey.
to sip espresso and eat a croissant. But
And
I'm
I
all
ain't
out of
done
croissants.
Yeah.
Sir Silence, how do you want to resolve the last remaining goon man?
Resolve him.
He fizzles.
Dissolve him.
I think I'm going to quickly use my manacles and chain that are on me and slap it on this man
Okay.
while he's stunned, and then kind of toss him in a corner and look at him while we take a look around.
And then I'm gonna look at
It results.
him.
All right. So we're at time is 8:50. How much more of this do we want to try to resolve tonight, or do we want to just go to XP and see how this finishes out next time?
So,
I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Please.
I just think that Silas, what he would do is, where this one thug that Lyric just shot, he would definitely be like, have the man he's manacled on his feet, you know, he's like manacled behind his back, and he's like shoving him towards this door, with his weapon drawn, to basically be like, I'm gonna go in here and take a look at this. You should probably come with me. Is what, you know, he's getting that whole like, I'm gonna go back here, maybe you want to come?
Who are you talking to?
I think, okay, well, I guess if I'm just gonna play it out, then on, Silas picks the guy up, walks over towards the door, and he looks back,
Toward the front door.
and he, no, the door that the thug came through, which leads to the back.
Sure.
Okay.
And he looks back at the group, he's like, I mean, we probably should go this way, you know? And then he starts, like, opens the door and goes to step through.
Oscar
what's your
wipes his
intention?
mustache.
I mean, my intention is on a larger scale is to make sure there's no thugs left here and that we've
Okay.
killed them all.
That's a good idea.
So if you step through the door, you would see there's one door just straight ahead, and then to your left there's a staircase leading downstairs, and that's all there is there.
I mean, do we want to just quickly play out this, like, to see if we find anyone, or do we want to, like...
We could play it out. You know, we're going to be breaking next week, so I figure that probably the easier we make it on ourselves to pick up and know where to go next, the better.
Yeah, we could do high points, because I can tell you there's no one else down there. So if you were gonna look for more thugs, you don't find any. And so the remaining things to resolve as far as this goes would be, you know, talking to the owner, and essentially, you know, saying, hey, I'm the captain now, you know, pull one of those.
He's under our protection. We do not assume his debt. He will pay off his debt in time, but we will talk to Bazo and make it our debt. His debt to us is not forgiven, but he works for us now.
He's
That's the good option.
He finds this a better option than sharing the same fate as the other thugs, you know. And from his perspective, anyone that can deal with these guys as easily as you guys have, you know, deserves to be feared, because he's seen them mess people up before, you know, people that start causing trouble.
So about the time that Wakasis' conversation is like wrapping up with that guy, when they're having that like "you work for us now" moment, Oscar comes over with some documents and starts like having him sign, like it's like an employment contract basically, that just kind of explains the new arrangement. Yeah.
Can we change the name of the cafe or decide on a name?
Yes.
I suppose we could, but what do we think that name should be?
Ooh, I have.
Ziesel. The
No,
Zowie
it
Zoo.
should be playing card related. If we're renaming it's going to be something.
Chess
to do
or
with the gambit.
cards or something.
A full house.
Oh my gosh.
Brainstorm.
Everywhere you look.
Haunt.
Everywhere.
And that's where we film our sitcom, and you know, it'll be great.
Okay.
So is it gonna be Full House?
That's fine with me.
Full
All
house.
right.
I mean, there's the Royal Flush.
No, that is not what we would call this
Oh,
place.
I like that more.
No.
There you go. You know how to do it.
We should-
Save
we
that
should-
for a different-
We should call
Oh
it.
yeah,
Or here's an idea. Because it's on a canal, we call it the Strait.
there we go. There's
Yeah.
there's the name. There's the name.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Shall we do XP?
Yeah, it should.
All right. Let's start with what cases? Wackasis. Did you roll any desperate actions?
I don't believe any of my actions were desperate this time.
Okay.
I don't think.
Did you address a tough challenge with deception or influence?
Influence, yes.
Yes. You get XP.
I was honest this time.
I'd say you can get XP for that, for utilizing a knowledge of a man's gambling debts to try to, you know, intimidate him or whatever it was that you were trying to do, you know.
Yeah. Take his
and-
stuff.
Yeah. You express your drives, heritages, beliefs, or backgrounds, or struggle with your vice or trauma.
I definitely expressed my background, I'd say.
Okay. In what way?
I had a flashback to my experience in a gambling den.
Cool.
You bet.
Me. You got it. And you don't have any traumas yet, and didn't really have any negative consequences of your vice.
I took a stress.
You did take a stress.
That's about it.
So you get the reward of having +1 stress.
I feel like I saved Matt's life.
Building character.
Thank you.
And Silas. You roll any
Okay.
desperate actions, boy?
I don't think I did.
I don't think you did either. Did you address this tough challenge with violence or threats?
I think
Always.
so.
I think that qualifies. Pretty much every time.
Yeah.
And did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I think I've at least done some of my background and then my background I think so because of the underworld thing, basically saying whatever this is, we need to attack another gang and take what's theirs to get stronger, essentially.
Yep.
It's kind of one of those things like it makes sense because in the rules we have to do that anyways because it's whole cities, like there's nothing left that isn't owned, but I think like within that I explained it that fits my character and shows that kind of background.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, that works for me. You can get XP for that. I don't think you struggled with any issues from your trauma or vice this time.
I think there were like glimpses, but not necessarily like anything that I think deserves XP.
Okay. Lyric.
Yes.
Did you roll any desperate actions?
Almost.
Almost.
But I don't think I technically did. I was risque.
You were
risky.
too ready. Too
I was-
ready.
Too ready, Freddy.
Right.
So yeah, no, not there.
Addressing any challenges with arcane power or knowledge?
Not this time.
Not this time, mate.
Nope.
Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I think, however, briefly, I mean, I didn't do as much this session, but
So-
I did have the opportunity to explain my appearance and why I came in the way I did, like with my face covered, trying to make sure that I didn't potentially run into somebody who I would have known from my days
Okay.
on the docks and seafaring life. So
Yeah.
if you think that counts,
Yeah, definitely.
okay.
And you don't have any traumas or anything to struggle with, and no negative consequences from your vice yet.
Not this time.
On to Oscar. Oscar,
Hi.
did you roll any desperate actions?
No.
You would have if I had failed.
I gave you the opportunity to roll a desperate action, but it was not necessary, so we did not do it.
I didn't need to shoot the dead man.
Right.
He was already
Stop.
thoroughly dead.
Double dead. Like Oscar just walks up with his cane after he's dead. Goes,
You fucking
"Oh, you
gob
gob
shite."
shite." I knew it. Alright, how about your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
Not really. I didn't really get a whole lot of an opportunity to do anything with it in this particular hit, if you will. I also didn't really address anything with like arcane power. I ate a croissant.
You address the croissant with your power.
I think if there's anything
I
that
attuned the croissant.
I did, it attuned to my soul. I think if there's anything, it would be that there was a bit of a Oscar was trying to help by using his connections with his law background. Although that was again a minor thing, kind of similar to how Lyric like wanted to find something near a dock so that we could do something like that. It was very briefly brought up and not really we didn't role play any of those scenes. We just kind of talked through the planning phase. So,
And we didn't. The roll didn't result in anything either, if I remember right. For you trying to use your contacts to help with the paperwork, is that what you're referring to?
no. Well, I'm talking about using my contacts to. I think you're mixing up two things.
Okay.
No, I was just talking about in the times where I went to assist by like knowing the place or like talking to my contacts about these other gangs. But
Okay. Yeah, we're talking about, do I know anything about the...
yeah, do I know anything about the Foghounds or like?
Yeah.
But
Right.
but I don't think that I don't even. I mean, it's up to you if that's worthy of it. We didn't get to role play it. If we had role played it, I
Right.
think it would be, but we didn't. So
Sure. All right. Fair enough. Do we have time to do any crew XP? You probably do.
yeah, sure.
I'm gonna take
Sure.
a second. Did you execute a profitable burglary, robbery, or theft? Yeah.
We're
I think so.
Yeah.
we're in process.
You at this point, you guys, there's nothing else in your way, you know. So you pretty much have done it, you know.
So we get
Mhm.
First
to
box on the crew advancement is always unchecking itself.
I know. I don't understand that.
Pesky fellow. Does
Does
that mean we just
I'll,
advanced?
I'll have to fix that.
Yeah.
we have all of our
XP?
check marks filled in.
Woo. We
Well,
now we do.
Most of the time.
Let's see. Does anyone remember how many
We
crew advances we've done?
We
We
needed
had
one.
space
We
left.
needed just one
yeah,
more.
this is
Okay.
we're good now. Like we can
It helped
advance to the
self-checking
next
a
step.
little, so.
I mean, there'll be more XP earned, I think, here. But
Sure. And if they do indeed keep resetting, then that's something I'll have to fix on the character sheet.
Yep,
this
It's something
week.
I've seen too.
For the next one, we should uncheck the box after the first one, just in case it's just the first box.
Did you improve the quality or variety of your hunting grounds?
I want to say
I'd say yeah.
Yeah, that was the goal.
Yeah.
it's kind of within our hunting grounds. I don't.
We improved the quality of them, though, right?
It's not within.
Like, this is a
your-
place we could have somebody come in and meet us
Mhm.
for a
Yeah.
job.
I could see it going either way, yes or no. So I think that because
I think
you
it should be
did-
yes.
Yeah, because you
we're
did go-
taking over new space. Our hunting grounds is kind of it's a vague concept, right? It's conceptual. It's not like a concrete. These are our hunting grounds area. So whether or not it's within a couple blocks of the Gambit is less relevant than is it a space where we can reasonably operate openly. And if the Foghounds owned it, then the answer to that is no. So
I think yes from that then.
yeah,
Okay. So at this point, we're resetting from since we already advanced, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we just have one.
Improve quality, bolster your crew's reputation, or develop a new one. You guys had ambitious as your crew's reputation, and
Mhm.
I think
I'd
that
say so.
taking on
It's a little ambitious.
taking on a 1-tier gang is a little less ambitious than taking on a 2-tier game.
I would argue it isn't because technically we get XP for doing that anyways. This is not so much ambitious. We only killed 2 men, and
Right.
it's
Yeah,
ambitious
I
for
don't-
us to walk
Well,
into
one.
a place and say we're taking it though, like for 4 people to walk into a bar or a coffee bar and say this is ours now, and just very openly, like several of us walked in with like basically the equivalent of like war gear, you know,
Yeah.
like we only actually talked about Silas's load, but like you may have noticed that Oscar was packing, which he doesn't do, which would imply that he was also at heavy load. Like this was an ambitious thing in that it was outside of our normal bounds of like how we operate in the past has been like we go and we make a plan and we deceive them and we work our way in and we get the thing and we get out. This time we walked in, said this shit's ours now, and walked out, and in that I believe it was ambitious.
Alright, cool. And then so yeah, you get it for that. Then contend with challenges above your current station.
Are
That
we still-
kinda is
Are we
is-
still
that's
tier
kinda-
0 or
yeah, you're still tier 0 at the moment.
well after we
hold on.
advance we won't be.
That depends on what you guys choose.
Oh, okay.
So let's resolve this, and then we'll talk about whether or not you go up a tier or not.
Okay.
So, yeah, did you contend with challenges above your current station?
I don't know.
I mean, we're at tier 0 at the time, and we fought at tier 1, so
I think, yeah, you fought something that was a tier above you, so I think it makes sense that the answer is yes.
We didn't own any cafes before this either.
True.
That's true.
True.
We
This
got
I mean,
the good.
We are punching up for sure. Like,
yeah, kind of in a similar vein as what I was just saying. Like this is something that like you know we are pushing beyond the meat. Like we are just just 4 guys who go on and beat up something. We also advanced beyond our our current scope because we didn't work for Bazo. Now that might not be what the other guy knows because of like Wacasis and Bazo's connections, but like we acted of our own accord to advance our own gang instead of acting on Bazo's accord to advance his agenda.
Okay. Cool.
But that's just my hot take.
So, when you guys advance as a crew, it says when you mark 8 crew advancement ticks, you clear the ticks and you get 2 crew upgrades or a new crew special ability. In addition, each PC gets 1 coin plus 2 per crew tier as a bonus payment, which they may keep as a spendable currency on hand or stash away for retirement. Now, is that plus 2 per crew tier that you advanced to or that you were at?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because
Well, okay, we don't advance tier.
right,
Tier is
yeah,
rep.
that's right.
So we have
So,
0.
so it would
Yeah.
still just be
tier
2
0.
coin or 1 coin.
Yeah,
Is it
one
2?
coin.
1.
1.
Okay.
Just 1. Yeah, you're right, Ian. So you guys get to either pick 2 new crew upgrades or a new crew special ability.
Or-
which
yeah.
page is this on?
This is on page 18. And then
Wait,
your
where?
choices for upgrades are
Yeah.
on the Thieves playbook, which you
Okay.
could.
Okay. So we can choose. Sorry, 1 special ability or 2.
Career upgrades.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'd be things like a new type of training, gear, implements, fine building plans, thief rigging.
What's an action rating?
Action rating is like your hunt score,
Total,
study.
like the top number, the total of them, or rather the number of ones you have.
No, that's the dots. I believe the action rating is dots, right? Or is that...
I think the action rating is like insight, prowess, and resolve, and the attribute is hunt, study, survey, and tinker.
Well, no, because...
You have that backward, Mike.
Rating to...
Do I have that backwards?
Yeah, you have that
Okay.
backward. The action, yeah, totally. The action is like your prowess, finesse stuff. The attribute is the larger umbrella one.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of cool special abilities that we can take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, good. They're good.
They're good.
I
Thief rigging
like
is also really good.
I like everyone's steals. I like synchronized. I like ghost echoes.
I think Ghost Echoes makes a lot of sense for us. But I also just think Everyone Steals is a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them seem to speak to some characteristic that we're cultivating, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
would it make sense
Yeah.
for Silas to be able to interact with ghostly stuff? Maybe after his experience, does that become more likely? Because I know that he wasn't as supernatural as these two.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't necessarily think so, but...
Okay. I was just curious, because that's
Right, yeah.
important.
We still don't actually know what Silas did when he disappeared. But
Yeah.
No,
so,
I mean,
so it
like,
could
the
have
thing
been
that
something...
incited it was a close contact with a ghost, so that's what made
Oh,
me
true,
curious
totally.
about it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
The old
Mhm.
punch a ghost.
And
move.
so, okay, so it's 2 crew upgrades or a special ability? You
Yep.
said? Okay.
Also, am I right in saying that we could use both of those 2 upgrades to create a cohort?
Cohort creation is do believe it's 2. Yeah.
that would be cool.
New cohort is
Mhm.
2 upgrade cost, yes.
Yeah, you're an expert.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
just a standard quality cohort.
What is a cohort?
That's good as hell.
It's a gang, like the like it's kind of like the drunks we got, but
But, like,
they
they
are
stick
better.
around?
Or
Yeah.
it's an
They're
or it's
permanent.
an expert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cohort
Either of which is
creation
cool.
is on
Yeah.
page
It's on
Page-
42.
Yeah.
42.
I want to say like that's just my personal opinion, but I'm like kind of opening to like I'm open to whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, I think having a cohort would be cool. Emily, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of like that idea. There's somebody special on our side, or somebody's special.
A cohort would be super cool for sure.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
get to pick what they are and what they
Mhm.
do, and it's pretty
Our
cool.
little minions, but not those minions.
Can they? Oh,
Better minions.
damn.
Starts with a quality of 1.
So
You know,
minions.
Minions,
Yeah.
yes.
basic minions.
Oh my gosh. Despicable Us.
So is that what we're going for here?
Yeah,
or-
let's do it.
Gambit and the
Let's get
minions.
heaps.
So
we
you
want
can choose from the list of gang types from the list below. There's also specialists, right? Am I
Experts.
Yes.
or an expert? You create an expert, record their type, doctor, investigator, occultist, assassin, etc. And when you create a gang, choose from the gang types below.
Mm.
So what kind of cohort are you guys making?
What do we need?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like,
Or what is?
You guys
That's
got
good.
muscle. I don't think you need
we
that.
do have muscle.
Do we need like information? Is that? I mean, it seems like we work the most with it, right? Like me and Oscar both feed off of it. I mean, even
Yeah.
Silas is tactical about things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Yeah,
something in
and
the shadows category.
If we take the shadows, we also can. The thieves have an interesting thing that gives them elite shadows. So next time we level up, we could take elite shadows, and it would buff them as well if we need to.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so if you take the shadows, then that's like a group of people that can, from my mind, they can like gather information for you, perhaps infiltrate different organizations, become informants, things like that.
And
What
that would
Oscar
normally
think about
cost 2 to do.
Wait, what?
What would Oscar think about that?
I'm sorry. No, I'm still. What do you mean it would cost 2?
If we take shadows,
Right.
we gain the ability to get elite shadows, which upgrades its quality by 1. Which normally you have to spend 2 XP
Oh,
and
okay.
like
So,
2 XP. to do.
but that's for later. So we
Yeah,
can still
yeah,
get
it's
a
for
shadow
later.
today, and that'd be fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oscar's 100% down with having a shadow. He thinks that having someone who's able to get more information would be helpful and good because
Yeah,
sometimes
it can free
like-
us up to act and to carry things out.
like Oscar is good at that stuff in a different way than a normal infiltrator would be, because he uses Willie to go in and do that. I think within the fiction, currently Oscar is having his doubts about his efficacy with using Willie as an asset in that way.
Mhm.
Would that make him change his? I mean, I guess the reason that I'm asking is, and this could be an inaccurate assessment, is that he wouldn't be all copacetic with all kinds of thieves. I
No,
guess.
he would not be. He
Which
would
isn't necessarily what we would get, but
No, so I think look, this is allow me to explain within the rules what I think we should get, and this is again from a fiction perspective. I think we should get a shadow that has the edge of independent and the flaw of unreliable, because I think that it would make a lot of sense and be something that would be good for us if we had someone around who was able to do that, who we didn't have to keep watch over them. They weren't like an employee or a lackey. They were like they're almost, I mean, a cohort, right? They're like a colleague who maybe sometimes is busy. They can't always be there.
Interesting.
Because they have their own shit they're doing. They're not an employee. They're not a lackey. They're someone that like maybe Oscar knows from his time as an investigator, and has seen them, or maybe there's someone that Oscar locked up at one point or got locked up, and they broke out, and there's like any number of ways we could take that. But having someone who like he doesn't have like a loyalty to us. It's not like he's like, yeah, I'm a part of the Gambit. He's like, I work with the Gambit. When I
Okay,
want
so-
to.
Yeah,
So
like
people-
contractors almost.
people like that wouldn't necessarily wouldn't necessarily like create a huge problem for him.
Yeah, with like
Just
front on your
outright
character.
thieves would be no good. Because I was gonna say when you said that, I also was thinking that like it would be pretty interesting if this was one of the lyrics connections.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Totally.
Somebody that is maybe either loyal to her or independent, but
Mhm.
maybe either unreliable because their character or whatever
Right.
else they're doing. But maybe the principles are the problem. I don't know what she
Sure.
saw on the ships.
Yeah, that's totally
Mhm.
another way we could do it.
Yeah. So it's like what we could even do now is like by next time we can establish exactly.
We're not getting an expert, right? Or are we looking for a gang of shadows or one?
Well,
fellow?
so I think it's a like, well, I guess it depends. I was looking for an expert of shadows.
Oh.
There's
one
I don't think there's a difference like in terms of like mechanics.
Well,
it's just like
Right.
It's just a gang of shadows is a few, like probably
Yeah.
3 to
Mhm.
6,
Right.
and an expert is just 1.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
so like a gang is like, I mean, it says right here, it can be a gang or an expert, but when you create an expert, you record their type. So if it's just shadow, we would want to pick between scout, infiltrator, or sneak thief.
Mhm.
That would it would be, and it would kind of be like a really powerful guy that does that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we want to do all those things, we would take a gang. But if we want to do one of those really good, I think
Sure.
we'd take an expert.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I could see either way. On the one hand, the expert is really interesting and would allow us to develop this really awesome character together. And on the other
Mhm.
hand, the crew is interesting because I feel like it creates a lot of opportunities for all of our characters to have these connections that now that we're actually established and we're fighting for this reputation that we all bring to the table. I don't know what's more interesting. I think it's more flexible, but it's also more general. So
Mhm.
rather than leaning on one person over and over, that might not always make sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
I am of the other camp where I think that having an expert, one single person, at this point in our
Mhm.
like where our gang is makes sense to me because I don't think we have the kind of sway to have a group of people
Sure.
who are good at this sort of thing. I think that like it.
But that's kind of like what the career advance is signifying, is you guys starting to gain that.
I understand. I understand that. It still doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like our gang is at a point where we could like realistically have
guess-
a group of people who are like, yeah, we're the people who, we're sneaky people.
It's your mental image that either this group or one person. I guess if it's a group, they're self-affiliated. They are
Mhm.
like a self-contained unit at all times. I had this other image of just other context, but I guess it could be.
Oh, sure. No, okay, I see what you're saying now. That makes a lot more sense than what I was thinking.
It's sort of like that we individually have weaker connections, but our pasts all
Mhm.
bring us these
Sure.
people.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah,
It
no,
seems
that
like
totally
that-
makes a lot more sense.
that's an option. I don't hate the idea of an expert because it's cool as hell. So like,
Yeah. Yeah,
All
for
cool as
sure.
hell, every little bit of it's cool.
So you're saying that we could all kind of bring a connection to the table that forms
that these are the
this
people that
group.
yeah in our past maybe we individually would be calling on if we were just doing these things on our own, but now that we have a little bit
Okay.
more of a presence and we have some agendas, now we bring in these kind of other characters as a crew or as a cohort. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, that's a cool idea.
But I'm also super down with one badass guy, but I don't know.
Yeah. Just our all-seeing eye.
I know that for me personally, I like the idea of bringing in a group because then we all kind of get to create like our own little NPC in this group. But I'm not dead set on that. I just really like that idea. That's just my opinion. But
Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's get some
Alright.
movies.
Oh, plus when they become elite, they'll be like,
Cool.
in the
It'll be
gambit.
Thieves Guild.
yeah.
The
So
Thieves
we can-
Guild,
The Guild of Shadows.
Mm.
they're not assassins though. So I was going to say they're a Thieves Guild and a Dark Brotherhood, but that's not true yet.
The Spades.
So what were the flaws or edges?
Oh yeah.
So we can take one or two, but
It's cool.
You can take 2 edges if you want to take 2 flaws. So
I think we should just do 1 and 1. It's easier to manage an NPC that way. and that we get to develop them, at least for the beginning.
Yeah.
What you said about independent and unreliable sounds, I don't know. I feel like that applies to anybody I could come up with.
Right.
Or
Like,
it would be interesting.
well, especially
Mhm.
someone that's a shadow. Like, you know, they like if that's their like if that's what these people are doing, if that's their line of work, they probably have other work, right? Like,
Yeah, they float in and out. We can trust them because of our pasts with them, but
yeah.
we can't always call on them. That's the interesting drawback that I thought was kind of cool about, especially having a group
Hmm.
rather than one
Mhm.
person. It really doesn't make sense to call on them all the time, anyways. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. And I don't think what I definitely don't think is that Oscar would be down with anyone who is like, well, he wouldn't be down with like having a shadow who's savage, because he's not down to
Right.
like have like serial killers that he's working with, because that's who he works
oh,
against,
I mean,
right?
except-
Like, well, no, like you know what I'm trying to say.
yes,
Um,
yes.
Yeah, and he
Not
wouldn't,
absolute
he
scum.
wouldn't trust someone who's supposed to be a shadow who's wild.
Right.
He just wouldn't. Yeah, Oscar would be like,
Not subtle.
You're a gobshite. Get out of here." So, well, how about we do the independent, unreliable shadow?
So what you're
True.
saying is that your shadow is Aaron Darzek.
A little bit.
I like it.
Cool.
I like it.
So on the crew sheet, we can actually put down the cohort stuff.
Yep.
Is there a quality that's attached to this at this point, or is that
Just one.
something?
One.
Just
Only
one.
one. And I think that if I can, give myself some time to, work on this sheet a little bit, I'll add some spaces to put the traits, edges and flaws for the
Mhm.
cohorts.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that at the moment, so I
Sure.
think that would be something super, super handy to have in there.
Mhm.
So if I can take some time within the next 2 weeks while we're on break to
Yeah.
work on that, I will. But everyone, make sure to record all that stuff in your character sheet. All y'all are responsible for your own character sheets and making sure it's up to date with all the current information. So I trust yous.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, then let's go ahead and call it a night. I think that's it, right?
That's all
Okay.
I got for you.
Cool. Mike, how about you tell us any plugs or hooks or anything you'd like to say before we call it a night?
I haven't really been doing any streaming or anything as of recently. I had been doing a Dark Souls 3 stream back when it released. Just so you know, I think that game is fantastic.
Speaking of
My-
which, I watched today. Sorry, this is great. I watched today a playthrough of someone who did the entire game without ever getting a hit.
Very nice. Very
Yeah,
cool. Very, very,
He's
very skilled.
unreal.
He got good.
Yeah,
He got good. Is what
Yeah.
he did.
totally.
Did he
Anyway,
parry? Did he
no,
parry
no, he like
all
he
dodges?
never. Yeah, it was all like he never got hit. He never died.
That's impressive because there's a lot of enemies that have some potentially and arguably unfair attacks that are really hard to avoid.
I think you think they're unfair.
Well, no, the evangelists specifically, they have an attack that kind of like stuns you and knocks you back.
Mhm.
There is like literally no wind-up animation for it.
Sweet.
So, so it's a little bit unfair, but anyway, yeah, Dark Souls 3, my personal favorite of the series, very closely followed by Dark Souls 1. Other than that, like I said at the beginning, I've been playing Hitman, the 2016 release. Might try to play a little bit more of that tonight, just on my own before I go to bed, just because I think that game is a lot of fun, and it's fun trying to find creative ways to assassinate people.
Cool.
I did it with the sniper rifle the other day. It was fun.
After this, was this before or after you drowned a woman in
This
the
was
toilet.
after. This was after I drowned a woman in the toilet.
Gosh. What about you, Emily? Do you have anything to plug?
Oh gosh, I've been pretty busy lately, so my YouTube channel has been a little bit quiet, but I am am Mighty Sophia on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and pretty much all of my public social media outlets. Game of Thrones is done, sadly, so I'm entering a bit of a summer lull, but I am looking to review some more content there, probably TV related, so check into that if you would like. And my brain is blanking on other things, but yeah, follow me on Twitter if you would like to chat, because I'm there a lot. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Ian, how about you, man?
No, I really don't have anything to shout out right now. Just been real busy, not been doing a whole lot that I can think of that to shout out, so maybe in the future. But for now, no.
Alrighty. Anthony, what about you, man? You did another playtest of that game, didn't you? That board
Not
game?
yet. That
Was that-
is Friday, actually.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Totally forgot, actually.
Hey,
Yeah.
You're welcome.
That's this Friday. Crap. Yeah. So that'll be happening this Friday. That's great. Obviously, all my internet stuff is in the chat, but maybe I'll stream on Tuesday next week, something or other. Maybe League of Legends. I don't know. Something. We'll find something.
Okay.
We have to put something on the TV. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll talk to Matt about that. But yeah.
Cool.
That's it.
Sweet, man. As for myself, this is what I do on the internet. I kind of lead the charge in the Friendly Fire TV world, and you can follow us on Twitter. It's in the chat. You can subscribe to us on YouTube to find the VODs for this episode and every episode prior. It's in the chat. You can also subscribe to Emily's YouTube, which is in the chat, and all of our individual Twitters, which are underneath our names here, and also in the chat. And you can follow us on Twitch, which isn't in the chat because it's below Ian.
Our
It is the
character
chat.
sheets are in the chat.
Our character sheets are in the chat, and these character sheets are ones that Michael made custom, and they are constantly being changed as we find things that we need to. And by constantly, I mean occasionally. But
when I remember and have the time.
yes,
you know.
they receive updates, which is cool, and they work in Roll20, so that's very nice as well.
And I'm always looking for feedback. So if you try it out in your games and you have any suggestions or bugs that you find, please let me know on Twitter. Or yeah, that's probably the best place to do it is on Twitter. So I would appreciate the help.
And other than that, like I said earlier, we will be gone next week, or at least Ian and I will be gone next week. We will be in the middle of the desert doing a summer camp for kids, and yeah, and so during next week there's not going to be an episode. We will be back on July. Oh, what's the?
It is
17th?
the 19th.
19th, July 19th. For the next episode of Blades in the Dark. In the meantime, we hope to have some more content here live on Twitch, so it's important that you hit the follow button if you haven't already, because that's the best way to know whether or not we're live, because it'll show up in your sub box. So, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you had a good time, and I guess that's it. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.